2012 NOC report completed, and Tourism Ministry launches Guide Expo 2014. You're watching Weekly Digest, a production of the Government Information Agency that keeps you up to date on what the government has been doing. With the details, I'm your host, Renita Mayswar. Guide Expo, the country's premier trade fair and exhibition, is slated for October 2 to 5 this year. The theme chosen for this year's event is Transformation, Partnering for a Better Guyana.
The government of Guyana believes strongly in partnership. We believe that partnership is critical in transforming Guyana. We believe partnership is critical in ensuring that we develop a better Guyana for all.
Gaia Expo is a private sector driven event providing a platform for importers, exporters, retailers, and wholesalers, both local and foreign, to showcase their products, interact with each other, and create linkages.
We wanted to capture what is taking place in Guyana. The tremendous investment from both the public and private sector that is changing the outlook of Guyana and that is changing the business climate and business environment in Guyana. It is because of the massive investment of both the public and private sector that we are able to grow wealth in a way that empowers the less fortunate, grow wealth in a way that adds value to the low-income earner.
Gaia Expo also attracts a large number of foreign exhibitors. It is the ideal setting that provides the opportunity for businesses to increase their competitiveness and efficiency and foster growth, which the country has been witnessing in recent years.
Out of the 15,227 students in Guyana who wrote the National Grade 6 Assessment in 2014, Joel DeSantis from the New Guyana School placed first at 533 marks, from the highest possible total score of 540.
The top spot in the 2014 National Grade 6 Assessment Examinations went to Joel DeSantis from the New Guyana School with 533 marks, followed by Alia Mohammed from School of the Nations with 531 marks. The results were announced by Minister of Education Priya Manikchand.
Number 3, Ravi Singh, Westfield Prep, 530 marks. Number 4, Isaac Malampati from the New Guyana School, 527 marks. Number 5, Annalise Samaru, School of the Nations, 525 marks.
A total of 168 students took the spots for the top 1%, of which there were 79 boys and 89 girls. Region 7 was classed as the most improved region with a 15% increase in passes from 2013, followed by Region 10 with a 10% increase and Region 11, Georgetown, with 8%. The cutoff point for entry into the sixth form schools were Queen's College, 514 marks, Bishop's High School, 510, St. Stanislaus College, 506, St. Rose's High, 503, and St. Joseph High, 500 marks. The minister gave a brief review of the subject score this year.
In 1994, 14% of our children had passed with 50% or more in English. In 2014, it's 51.92%. In 1994, 30% of our children had passed science with 50% or more. In 2014, it's 43% of our children who are passing with 50% or more. And in 1994, in social studies, 16% of our children had passed with 50% or more. In 2014, it's 40%.
The top students across the regions are from Region 1, Marissa Nascimento with 510 marks. From Region 2, Roshni Deonorain scoring 519 marks. From Region 3, Jaron Boucher gaining 524 marks. Region 4, Crystal Singh scoring 524 marks. Region 5, Grace Etwaru scored 518. Out of Region 6, Joel Passad gained 518 along with Simeon Diabru, who also scored 518. From Region 7, Ravi Ramdas gained 505 marks. Out of Region 8, Sean Abraham gained 474 marks. From Region 9, Angelique Thomas and Amisha Ramdin both gained 502 marks. And from Region 10, Roy Rogers gained 514 marks.
2 goals were set for the dairy producers in Guyana to achieve by 2020 during a consultation on dairy development in Guyana. Participants in the consultation include dairy farmers from various regions, officials from the GLDA, and persons representing the interests of groups and companies.
The dairy sector in Guyana has been targeted to see improvements, which began with a consultation on dairy development at the Guyana Livestock Development Authority. Here, Minister of Agriculture set two goals for dairy producers in Guyana to achieve by 2020: to reduce the import of milk by 25% and reduce the import of dairy products by 10%.
Those are ambitious goals, but also reachable goals, very reachable goals. And I believe together we can do this.
During the open discussion, one of the first issues raised was that of pasturage. This issue has been ongoing over the years due to the fact that it requires huge amounts of land. However, work is ongoing to address it.
So we have identified the need for pasture land, and that is a big issue that we have to address. We have had many difficulties with this over the years. Clearly, we do not have vast amount of land that is near where people live. So I just want to make that first statement. That cattle land, once we identify them, will not necessarily be where we live.
The meeting also yielded other issues to be addressed, such as bettering dairy development through improved genetics to increase milk yields, education for dairy producers, pricing of milk, addressing of collection and distribution systems, the regulation of milk and dairy products, the ownership of plants either by co-ops or stakeholders, marketing strategy, investors, both local and otherwise, and feed for cows. Additionally, plans are also being made for the setting up of a dairy plant.
The Sports Ministry and the Caribbean Premier League signed the host venue agreement, confirming Guyana's hosting of its leg of the 2014 CPL T20 tournament, scheduled to be played at the Guyana National Stadium at Providence.
This agreement, which was formalized on June 10 between Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Dr. Frank Anthony, and Omar Khan, Operations Manager of the CPL OPCO, will ensure that the games scheduled to be hosted in Guyana on July 17th, 19th, and 20th meet international standards, ensuring both spectators and team players have an enjoyable time at the event.
We in the ministry, we are extremely pleased that we're once again going to be hosting Limetal CPL matches in Guyana. I think we have the distinction, as you know, that on the very inaugural tournament that Guyana and the stadium, the National Stadium of Guyana, would have been the first to conclude the host venue agreement with Limetal CPL in its very inaugural tournament. And I think after that, a lot of the other venues then came on board. So we are very pleased. I know on this occasion, both sides would have had the opportunity of reviewing the agreement, and it's not very much different from the one that we would have signed on the previous occasion.
The tournament allows for the participating countries' young talent to be nurtured. The games played will be amongst 6 teams: Trinidad and Tobago's Red Steel, the St. Lucia Zooks, the Jamaica Talibas, the Guyana Amazon Warriors, Barbados Tridents, and the Antiguan Husks Bills.
While we would host the matches themselves, we are also making the stadium available for the team to be there to do the practice and all of that. So the Guyana team would be in preparation, way before that, and they would be using the facilities at the stadium. So those of you who would have an interest to see how the team, they're practicing and so forth, you'll be able to go down to the stadium to see them practice, and then of course the matches. So we're very happy to once again be part of Limetal CPL, and I'm sure that the people of Guyana, who always support cricket in a very big way, that we will see packed stadium on the days and the evenings when we have these matches.
The tournament will take off in Grenada on July 11 as the Caribbean witnesses the 6 franchises trying to win the CPL. On Thursday, July 17, the Guyana Amazon Warriors will take on the Trinidadian Red Steel, followed by the Guyana versus St. Lucia Zouks on Saturday 19th, and on Sunday 20th, the Amazon Warriors again versus the Jamaican Tallowas. The Guyana National Stadium, an investment by the government of Guyana, was built specifically to host Super 8 matches in the 2007 Cricket World Cup and has since broken several records in the history of cricket. The venue has been preparing since last year and is still being prepared in a process that will ensure that it is ready to host the much anticipated CPL matches.
When the stadium run bleach at the grandstand of the meaning of beautification. It's how we play.
There's more to come. Stay tuned.
Government's efforts to continue the improvement of medical services have been negatively affected by the decision of the parliamentary opposition to cut funding for the specialty hospital and the medical sector. This move means that monies for the provision of medical gear for doctors and nurses, along with new equipment for hospitals and clinics such as those at Port Kaituma, Linden, Kokwani and Bartica, and new ambulances have not been approved. This move by the political opposition will adversely affect the provision and delivery of health care in communities across Guyana. The opposition's disapproval of monies for the Office of the President has affected several agencies such as the Civil Defense Commission. This agency deals with managing and assisting persons and communities affected by disasters, natural and man-made. The move to disapprove funding for the CDC means that if any disaster were to occur, the government would not be able to provide any assistance to those in need.
By cutting the administrative arm of the Office of the President's funding, the allocation for the provision of the Head of State Security has been removed. This action can compromise the security of President Donald Ramotar. This move sets a dangerous precedent and is unacceptable for any head of state, government, or right-thinking people of a democratic nation. The disapproval of funds by the political opposition for the Ministry of Finance's administrative arm means that students wishing to attend the University of Guyana will not be able to access any loans for 2014. The move will prevent many students who are unable to pay cash from studying and having a tertiary education. Most of these students are underprivileged and are unable to afford higher education to further their development and increase job opportunities.
Evidence of government's commitment to the sugar industry, Budget 2014 makes a provision of $6 billion to Gaisuku to help the industry reverse its fortunes. The provision will redound to the benefit of the 18,000 workers and their families and to the other 120,000 persons directly or indirectly benefiting from the industry.
The need for better collaboration between government agencies and stakeholders to ensure better healthcare delivery was highlighted during the Health Ministry's 2014 semi-annual Regional Health Officers and Program Heads meeting.
The Ministry of Health held its 2014 semi-annual Regional Health Officers and Program Heads meeting on June 12 and 13 under the theme Health Vision 2020 Shining Through the Regions. Regional officials from Regions 7, 8, 9 and 10 participated. Greater cohesion among ministries of health, local government and Amerindian affairs, local government bodies and stakeholders was highlighted during the meeting to ensure more aggressive actions are taken in the delivery of healthcare services, especially in the hinterland areas.
The Ministry of Health doesn't run health in this country. When I say this, it's scoffed at the highest levels. But there's so many other forces that impact on the ministries of health capacity to deliver services. First of all, in your regions, you control the budgets. First of all, another ministry controls employment. But we give the superior guidance in terms of policy, strategies, and so on. And hopefully, by working synergetically together, you can execute your regional budget in a timely fashion so that you will attain the goals for which that budget in the health sector was designed. And it goes to other sectors too, the education sector and so on. So I'm happy that we get in this realization, and that is why on this basis I'm inviting you in the future. We have these meetings semi-annually, that's 6 monthly. Have a greater input, input in terms of your personnel for them to come and rub shoulders with us. Not because these regions are represented, their REOs must come along. You have to get the Central Ministry of Local Government coming. and we need also to get the Ministry of Family and Affairs.
This two-day meeting allowed for regional health officers to have direct dialogue with program heads while reviewing challenges, highlighting achievements, and identifying areas that arise from lessons learned. The officers also had the opportunity to report on health services in their respective regions. While the Health Ministry creates the necessary policies, gives guidance, and provides training, the Local Government Ministry plays an integral role in ensuring the budgetary allocations made available for the installation of the much-needed infrastructure are effectively utilized.
We recognize that there has been a movement of people away from the central urban areas, even to the rural areas and to the hinterland. Population mobility, not only because of government's increased investment in housing, but there are issues of mobility as a result of the upsurge of mining activities. These have to be addressed. We could not be that we stay aloof and say the miners elected to go where they are. People go where they can earn money to provide meals for themselves and their families, to satisfy needs. And we need to take the health care there, because ultimately, all of us will be affected, all will be consumed.
In keeping with the Health Vision 2020, which focuses on the improvement of healthcare systems and services, issues such as management of the workforce, payroll, work conditions, and drug shortages, all of which need immediate attention, will be discussed throughout the sessions.
Since its launch in 2011, the One Laptop per Family project has been welcomed by thousands of citizens as the quest continues to equip every household with a computer.
Expressions of gratitude were reiterated by residents of Monrepo East Coast Demerara as the OLPF Secretariat took its distribution and training program to their village. The residents who turned out in their numbers warmly welcomed the 800 laptops distributed there.
Yes, and we benefit for the children to go to school and more, more is about little things what they learn about in school.
This distribution is part of a phase that will see 17,000 laptops distributed in 2014 and will account for approximately 50% of the entire OLPF project. This distribution phase began in May and will run into September in regions 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. The grateful residents share the benefits of the laptop, pointing out that it ranged from communication with relatives to academic assistance.
It will benefit me a lot for my children because I haven't got any computer, especially their homework and so forth.
You know how it's going to benefit me? I have my sisters, brothers, and daughter outside, and it would be less expensive than the phone.
In addition, staff of the OLPF Secretariat took the training and distribution exercises to the homes of the elderly who were not on the list to receive. Further information communication technology hubs have been placed at the Monrepo Health Center and the Phoenix Recovery Project Rehabilitation Building to commence training in the use of the devices.
The inquiry into the August 2012 breakout of inmates of the New Opportunity Corps has been completed, and its report was handed over to the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport.
Justice Winston Moore, charged with conducting an inquiry into the August 2012 breakout of inmates who went on a rampage and set buildings ablaze at the New Opportunity Corps, the NOC, on June 10th, presented the final report to Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Dr. Frank Anthony.
You'll recall about in 2012 when we had the outbreak that we had set up a board of inquiry with Justice Winston Moore. And that report seemed to be the subject of a lot of discussion. Yesterday, we are pleased that we have received finally a report from Justice Moore. And that right now would be discussed by the ministry staff, and we'll later make some pronouncements on the report.
In September of 2012, a 5-man commission was installed to investigate the circumstances surrounding the breakout and alleged arson by the NOC inmates at the National Juvenile Correctional Facility at Undernaming on the Essequibo coast. Reports were that the inmates had first set fire to the females' dorm and managed to keep public-spirited citizens who attempted to overcome the flames at bay. There were reports, too, of students overpowering guards at the detention center, breaking down doors and smashing windows in their frantic bid to flee the facility. There had been several delays in the official handing over of the report, although findings and recommendations from preliminary reports were being reported on in some sections of the media. The minister had earlier said during the year that the ministry had written to Justice Moore on several occasions about the report, but to no avail.
The 2014 national budget has allocated $32.3 billion for education as government continues to emphasize a sector which has undergone significant transformation in response to the emerging needs of society. A message from the Government Information Agency.
Parents with school-aged children will achieve a measure of relief with the provision of $10,000 per school year for all school children in the public schools. This from the 2014 budget is in addition to the school uniform voucher, which will continue to be distributed. The provision of $1 billion via the national budget for the execution of cleaning and sanitation works in the nation's municipalities is an indication of government's commitment towards providing a healthy environment and keeping its citizens safe from various diseases spread by insanitary conditions. Half of this amount will be used to clean the capital city of Georgetown and begin the process of restoring it to its former status of the Garden City. Pensioners will enjoy a 50% increase in assistance, bringing it to $30,000 per annum for pensioners who are customers of the Guyana Power and Light Company Incorporated. Further, old age pension is to be increased by 5% with effect from May 1, 2014 to $13,125 monthly, targeting the 42,500 senior citizens.
The Government Information Agency, GINA, evolved from the Government Information Service and was formally launched in 2002. GINA is executing its mandate of keeping Guyanese, both locally and in the diaspora, informed of government's programs and policies pertinent to development. Cognizant of the right of Guyanese to information, GINA, through its dedicated staff, has endeavored to deliver its mandate to the best of its ability. Guyanese have every right to be informed on policies, programs, and projects which impact on their lives. The Government Information Service was in operation long before the PPPC administration took office and discharged the same mandate. GINA is a unit of the Office of the President, and its mandate is similar to other organizations around the world where governments have a fixed body to disseminate their information. GINA will endeavor to remain steadfast to its mandate and takes pride in continuing to serve the people of Guyana. GINA, information for nation building.
President Donald Trump and cabinet ministers discussed matters of public concern on June 10th. The media was briefed subsequently on these deliberations.
On June 10, Cabinet gave its no objections to 8 contracts in the housing and water, security, agriculture, Amerindian affairs, and public works sector. Having removed the ongoing Guyana-New Zealand test match from Guyana, the WICB has issued yet another threat, this time to exclude the country's under-19 team from the regional games.
The West Indian Cricket Board is now writing to dissociate itself from any attempts, any intention to belittle President Ramotar and or to show disrespect to him or his administration. Interestingly, in the very same breath, in that correspondence, the Cricket Board, West Indies Cricket Board, issues further threats. Guyana, they're saying, if you don't do what we say, the non-inclusion or the exclusion of our under-19 team from the regional tournament is on their front burner.
The sole aim of the Cricket Administration Bill is to improve accountability and transparency of cricket in Guyana. Meanwhile, the HPS said that even if Guyana enacts a CFATF compliant legislation, it is not sufficient to get the country out of the blacklisting trap.
Blacklisting is not needed. blacklisting should be avoided at all costs. But if you are caught in the blacklisting trap, you ain't exactly going to jump out of it like Jack and the Rabbit. International experience has shown that minimally it takes 2 years to get out of this blacklisting trap.
The $1 billion National Cleanup Program will be undertaken by the Ministry of Local Government, with specific focus to be placed on the restoration of drainage.
The details were provided to Cabinet, and it dealt primarily with cleaning up the environment, restoration of the drainage capacity in the city, and of course, infrastructure work dedicated to drainage structures, the ward, the sluices, and the cokers. For the second 500 million that was dedicated to the rest of Guyana, the coastal administrative regions were identified as the beneficiaries.